So once again, I'm back. I'm going to guest Bishop Scott. I don't know. Got a couple things to talk about today, um, and more. Um, been a crazy rainy day in Virginia and so forth and so on. But nevertheless, it is what it is. Um, I'm not sure how things are going and stuff like that. But it's been a while. It's the real March Madness is about over. We're about the end of March. You really can see what's going on. So with that being said, what's going on, sir?
Hey, Bernard, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm just
Good.
relaxing, man. I'm just getting back home. It's rainy day in Virginia today.
Yeah, it's kind of drizzly around here too in Pennsylvania, Philly.
Oh yeah, but it's windy and some people are out of power down here, but
Oh my.
otherwise that's okay. So what's the deal, man? What's the deal? What's going on? What's on your mind?
Well, we've been thinking about a lot of stuff. Naturally, the Will Smith thing is still going on. We naturally know that. I think we had a good program last night on Real Talk with the G-Man. I thank you for being on the program as usual and for participating and bringing up a very important issue about depopulation in the grand scheme of things. What the aims are right here in this country as well as around the world. And like we said last night, the target area seems to be primarily Africa. And of course, the United States is leading the way in financing this grand scheme to depopulate the world. And of course, the primary targets, as are always, when you're talking about decreasing and devaluing a people, African Americans is number one on the list. Maybe bottom, we are on the bottom of the social order, but we're number one when it comes to taken advantage of, being taken advantage of, being disenfranchised, and being depopulated.
Well, remember I was talking to you this morning about the U.S. National Security Memorandum, and I also told you about a guy named Brzezinski, and
Mm-hmm.
his daughter is with Joe Boy Scarborough Morning Joe. That's his daughter. But Brzezinski was top foreign policy advisor to Barack Obama, but he also was under Jimmy Carter as well, as I had told you.
Right.
And
That spans about 30 years between the
and
two.
Brzezinski said that at one time it was either to control millions of people, but then he said it's either to kill millions of people in 2008 when he made the statement. And Barack Obama was actually his understudy, as he was understudy of Bill Ayers and other CIA operatives, the Bushes and so forth and so on. So actually, Barack Obama fits into the agenda of depopulation as well.
It's interesting, isn't it?
As a matter of fact, the 1973 Roe versus Wade Act, then they came up and finished a document around 1974 and adopted as U.S. policy under Gerald Ford in 1975 for the National Memorandum 200. Now, they tell you it's for outside countries, right?
Right.
But they carry the actual population agenda right here in the U.S. as well. It's not just for outside countries. That's what they say, but they use it here too.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
Because as a matter of fact, Operation Paperclip talked about that. And actually, if you listen to Putin, he's saying he's trying to save the Ukraine from Nazification.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it in another spectrum of the thing,
and we shouldn't be surprised. I was saying last night. I was saying how during World War II, Ukraine was really they had their own prejudices, their own biases, their own racial discrimination against the Jews, and they use the horror of the Holocaust that the Nazis perpetrated. They were on goose step. They were goose step in that. They were very much complacent, not complacent, but rather they were comrades in this thing. And I'm using it very loosely because the Ukraine at that time was a part of the Soviet Union, and so some of the things that were done to the Jews there in Ukraine were not perpetrated by the Nazis always. It's how the Ukrainians also felt. And you know how they've done during this war-torn situation between Russia and the Ukraine, how when the African students tried to leave the country, they were denied deportation. They were denied, they were pushed back. They were denied the access of getting on buses and trains to get out of that war-torn nation. And it came in the order of Ukrainians were first, Europeans were next, all other races were next, and then came Africans. And there are many Africans still there in the Ukraine, unable to leave. What they did was they gave them rifles and say, defend the country. A country is not even their own. They're Nigerians and Ghanaians and all the rest of that. They're now stuck there to do that.
Mm.
And they've always been Nazis. They've always been Nazis and Nazi sympathizers.
Yep, that's exactly what it is, Darius. It is a distraction. That's what it's really about. A cover story to take down the U.S. dollar. As a matter of fact, they've actually been talking about. As a matter of fact, today is the deadline they have on that. I think some deal they got with Russia about some money or something. I gotta go back and look it up, but they got a deadline at the end of the day. I can't remember what one it is, but that is actually he's actually right about that. But we did have a talk about the U.S. policy on depopulation, and that fits into legalize abortion and everything else.
Of course, that's another method of depopulating the country.
This is for Information Act of 1976. I got to bring this up. And all of this is to be educational and informing. That's for the Nazis that are listening. But they've got a thing going on. It's not just about no jabs or anything. It's about this thing you were talking about, this Will Smith thing. And I just wanted to bring up and say that Hollywood has all these special effects and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, what is this really about? I mean, back in the day when I grew up, there was like, fuck the Grammys, fuck the Oscars. The Russians drafted 134,000 men, 18 and 27. They had a report by May. Okay, I have to look into that. Thanks for pointing out. When we get into the real deal, you can't be a surface dweller. Surface dweller gets you nowhere. That's why I haven't really brought up that thing with Will Smith and them. I wasn't even bringing up my program. All Russian exports had to be paid in rubles, and they're backing their ruble by gold, which is while the U.S. will be going to war soon, but all by design. Okay. So, with that being said, there's a bill that they passed in the Senate called the Anti-Lynch Act, and I know you didn't want to talk about it. So I know that's one thing you want to talk about. So go ahead and explain your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, like everything is a gesture. Everything is trying to placate us as a people. It has nothing to do with African Americans, really, and nothing that they do. Let me say this: nothing that they propose has anything to do with us. I don't care what it is. Civil Rights Act of 1964. The group that has been impacted the most by it are white women, not blacks. Other minorities have been impacted very positively by the Civil Rights Act. Now, keep in mind, during 1964, when I was around, because I was born in 51, there were no other minorities really of any significance. There were Latin Americans, certainly there were, but not in the volume. We were the number 2 group in terms of numbers. First was the Caucasians, white folk, and then came the African Americans, blacks, Negroes at that time, colored, all the terms they used for us. We were number 2. So the bill was meant for us, the injustices that were meted against African Americans for centuries. But like everything, nothing that's offered to us is about us. Ultimately, it's always going to impact the other group more than ourselves. They don't do anything for us. We know that for a fact, even though in the Biden administration, all the things he's done for every other minority group from the LGBT community to Native Americans, to Asians, to Latin Americans, and how they're having people come in from all over the world, yet they drive out the Haitians. Nothing is done for us. And anything that we benefit from, we have to share with everybody else. Everybody. The same with the anti-lynching bill. That's the same thing. They attach our names to it to get our support. So certainly Emmett Till, how our hearts yearn for and are sympathetic towards Emmett Till and the thing that he went through in the murder of him in 1955. And every time we talk about Emmett Till, the 14-year-old boy from Chicago who went down to Money, Mississippi to visit with his family and ended up dying horrifically. And so in order to keep us in line, in order to keep us conscious of the fact that this bill was going to be the Emmett Till bill and all of this, it just keeps us believing in something that's a fairy tale. I call it the illusion of delusion, which means that it's not real.
Well,
another gesture, if you will, another gesture.
I don't particularly like the bill myself, to be honest with you. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. What's going on, man?
Peace. What's going on with you?
Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Hey, what up, bitch?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm just tripping.
I'm doing pretty good down here in Texas, man. I'm doing pretty good. What's going on with your neck of the woods?
Everything's everything as usual. Nothing much changed. Sad to say.
Well, let me bring up something right here. I was telling Shaq I'm from a different culture, so I don't particularly like the Civil Rights Act or the Anti-Lynch Act, because in that Civil Rights Bill, and to be honest with you, the more and more you look at it, I wish they would have never signed it. Because it was never really intended for you, because it had a thing in there called you cannot discriminate on the basis of sex or gender. What are they trying to say now? You cannot discriminate on the basis of sex. Matter of fact, if you do, we can make it a hate crime.
Right, now with this hate crime thing, yep.
Yeah. So this was, like the guy said, Bayard Rustin used civil rights as a Trojan horse to bait and switch for gender confusion rights. Also, now today they came out and said that they're going to, what they say the hell they're going to do today? Some dumb shit. Oh, gender neutral passports or something. You need to have a gender neutral passport. Walt Disney said they don't have enough gay content in their films. As a matter of fact, you had a woman sitting right up there that said that they are going to what? Do you know what they said they were trying to do? They said that they're going to that they're trying to kidnap the children that are LGBTQ. I said, come on, people. I know you're not believing.
But no, I'm a little slow. So, what exactly does gender neutral mean? What is that? That's a new term. What is that?
Not defined by gender, man.
Either you have a gender or you don't have a gender, right? Well, you gotta have a gender to be live.
Man, woman, boy, girl.
Well, gender would be male, female. That's your gender.
Right.
Male, female.
So what? Right. So are you a male or a female, or you in between? You undecided? What's going on here? You mean tell me you could be undecided in your gender?
That's what they would like you to
do.
Disney just said they getting rid of the greetings.
Who is they?
When you come to the park, they're gonna say hello everyone or something like that. They're not gonna say hi miss or hi sir or nothing like that.
I'm saying who is they though? Who she talking about is they? What is?
When you go to Disney Park, when they greet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They have like a greeting ceremony of the people that comes to the park, and they have this.
Oh yeah,
like a welcome thing.
Oh yeah. But they ain't got to worry about me. I never, yeah. They ain't got to worry about that.
And like I said yesterday, that's why I believe, this is my own personal belief. That's why when Marsha Blackburn, the senator, asked Judge Jackson Brown, or Brown Jackson, about what is a woman, and she answered, "I don't know." Once again, it's a part of a system. You know, it's something she knows. She knows who's buttering her bread in this nomination. She knows the Republicans are not going to support her nomination, at least not to the point where they're going to vote for her in any great numbers. She knows it's going to be the progressive liberal wing of the Democratic Party that's going to make her the 116th Supreme Court Justice of the United States. She knows that. So she has to speak the language of them. Whether she believes it or not, I believe she does believe it. But whether she does or not, that's inconsequential. Her thing is that she has to acquiesce to whatever their disposition is. And, you know, they're very much supporting the LGBT community, the transgender community, and so she's like walking a tightrope. And so the best way to do it is not answer the question at all. I don't know what a woman is. Here's a woman. She's being promoted as being the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court, but is she a woman? Is she a woman?
There you go.
As the first
there
black
you go.
woman? If she doesn't even know what a woman
children?
is?
Do she have children? Biological children?
Yeah. 2 daughters. I mean, 2 children. David and
she a woman then? See, that's what I'm saying. When you're dealing with these people that practice law, you got to watch them, because it's all about etymology. It's all about linguistics. You know what I mean? You got to watch them. They tricky. They're very tricky people. And they know the words could be used. Words, definitely is English language. It's a double and quadruple entendre type of language. So they be very, if you notice them, just even when we go to a court, go inside the court, Bishop, we are at the court's beckon. The average civilian is at the court's beckon because we really don't know what's going on inside the court. We don't know the terminology. We don't know court lingo.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And see, that's why I think the courts, we are at a disadvantage. And a lot of the people that are being charged stuff, but who's gonna be brave enough to really bring it up and start the actual some type of class action lawsuit? Because if I don't know something, how can you charge me for something that I don't know? Right?
You don't know your rights.
If it's a different language inside the court,
right?
That y'all use, and I answer the question on the pretense that I'm going off the dictionary language and it's a different meaning from what you asking me. See, that's trickery. But who's gonna be brave enough to bring that up though?
And I think
fight back against that.
And they do it deliberately. They want us to come in there ignorant. They want us to come up ignorant. They want us to go in there not knowing. So whenever they pronounce certain things and decide certain things, we don't know what even rights we have to even combat it, even to protest against it. We just acquiesce to it and say, okay, if that's what you say, I don't know what it means, so I gotta believe what you're saying to me. We have to challenge that, because anything in this government, I don't care whether it's coming from the judicial branch, the executive branch, or the legislative branch, you better be suspicious of it, because the bottom line, it means you no good in the end. The average it means no good in the end.
What was the line of question for them to ask her what was a woman? What was they going with it? Is that standard? They just have random questions they ask just to see what
each senator
temperament
can
is.
ask whatever they want to ask. So
okay.
Just asked it. She wanted to see what she had to say, because really she was alluding to the fact of transgenderism, and she has made some decisions, or at least has been in situations. Judge Brown Jackson, she has been in situations where she's had to deal with it, and we know that this transgenderism and all that it entails will be before the Supreme Court very soon.
Right.
We know, because some of the issues, like the girl that Leah Thomas, who was a young man, unsuccessful male athlete, may I add, but a very successful female athlete. Because like I said yesterday on my program, you remember, I said biologically all you can do is to change someone's anatomy. You cannot change their cell structure. We have 1 trillion cells. It's impossible to change a person's cell structures. And to change it, you can't do. I can cut off my penis. You can replace my penis with a vagina. I can take hormones that my facial hair no longer exists. All those things you can do, those outward things that you can change and alter your anatomy, but you cannot change the structure of your genes and your cells and your chromosomes. That's impossible. So, therefore, whatever your cells add up to be, that's what you are until the day you die. Now, you can call yourself what you want to call yourself. You can do with your body what you want to do with your body, but your cell structure is determined before you're born, and it's maintained throughout your life.
Like, I'll say, so what are the side effects of that? Even taking those hormone blockers and stuff. Those people some of those people they be very suicidal.
Yeah, they are.
Not saying all, but some of them be suicidal because they be in between. Especially, I think if you give that to, let's get on the conversation, trying to give it to a child, a minor.
Right. And that's where they're starting now. Children can determine what they want to be at 5 years old, at 6 years old. They don't even know mathematics, and they don't even know about anything. They don't know about no biology, never been in a biology class. And here they're going to decide something of that great magnitude. You got to force.
That's why that should be illegal. That's definitely why that should be illegal, Bishop, to even, for somebody even to propose that. And we voted for somebody, and you mean to tell me people still vote for these people that even will propose that to the people? Y'all people are disgusting and sick for you to let it go by. Now that's your party members. You vote, you're a lifetime Democrat or Republican, and you're not on your social media saying, no, I'm with the party, but I'm not with that. I disagree with you with that. Something wrong with you.
Right.
For you to sit on your hands, but you're going to still be adjacent to these parties, and you sit on your hands and not address some of the dysfunction that they're trying to promote.
Exactly.
Come on, man. You can't simply call yourself no damn child of God, but you letting these, but you still voting for them though. You in that party, you're not calling them out for it.
No. In fact, like you say, not only you're not calling them out, you vote for them to come back into office. You wait till 2022 is over in November at the end of this year. And we have the midterm elections where we have keep in mind, at the midterm elections, all 435 House of Representative members are up for re-election or to be dismissed from being seated. All of them. This year we have 33 senators out of the 100 senators that are up for re-election. So you have all the House of Representative members, all 435 of them, every single one, because House members only serve every 2 years. Their time ends every 2 years. In the Senate, it's every 6 years. So this year, all 435 House of Representatives, that means Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Jim Clyburn, all those people are up for re-election. Cory Bush, he's a senator, but all those people that are in the House of Representatives, all your congresspersons are up for re-election. I want to see how many of them are defeated or someone takes their place. I want to see what we do with it. Here's an opportunity to get rid of all. This is what really voting was meant to be. It wasn't meant to march goose step to any one party. It was meant to bring accountability to these Congress people, both senators and House members. They are accountable to us, and our vote is supposed to determine whether they've been successful or whether they've not been successful. And we don't hold them accountable enough. There's senators right now that's been there 40 plus years. Congressmen that have been in there 40 plus years. Nancy Pelosi has been there 34 years, and Maxine Waters has been there 32 years. That's too long. And they live in $9 million homes, $8 million homes, $4 million homes. Very few of them live in the very districts that voted for them into this office. They live in the nicer neighborhoods. They don't live in the ghettos with many of their constituents. or in the low income areas with their constituents. They live in the richer parts of town and the richer parts of the state. They don't even live with their own constituents. And yet we vote them back in time and time and time again. Don't do nothing for you. Streets are filled with homeless people laying in the middle of the streets, dirt and filth, disease and everything else in these cities. And we vote for them back again, like somehow or another, in 32 years, you haven't done nothing. Now this year you're going to do something? You're going to make a difference? They forget that they are representing their district. They finally get to Washington and they forget about their districts. They forget about their state. Now they're the federal government.
Let me ask you a question,
Bishop. It's still
Bishop.
their state that gets them back in there.
You've been here longer than me.
A little bit.
Excuse me. When have you heard of or witnessed a person of Asian descent getting lynched?
Long time.
Can you hear me? Huh?
I can't hear you, but long time. But I'm looking up this bill.
Mm-hmm. I think you're on mute, Bishop. We can't hear you.
I've been reading it for the last couple of seconds. Oh.
HR 55. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to his mic.
Bishop, your mic out. We can't hear you, Bishop. We see your lips moving. You might have to go out and come back in. You probably got a call.
Yeah, he's probably on the phone.
Yeah.
But his HR 55 became law on the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Lynching whoever conspires to commit any offense under paragraph 1, 2, defined in section 246, results from this may be in prison for not more than 30 years, fine and according. Whoever conspires to commit any offense shall have death or bodily harm, or the offense includes kidnapping or attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated or be an attempt to kill, be in prison for not more than 30 years, fine in accordance with both. So if you're talking about lynching just by hanging somebody, that ain't lynching all this stuff talking about. This talking about sexual abuse, aggravated sexual assault, and all that. What they got to do with lynching? I'm just asking you. Right.
Yeah. There you go with the slickery and trickery, man. You know what I'm saying? Politics. Up to the old politics, man. Politics.
Mm-hmm. That's right there. I mean, it tells you. It has nothing to do just only with no damn lynching. It's really for the homosexuals, really.
But ain't nobody lynching them. That's what I'm saying, man. They pretty much beating themselves up. Ain't nobody, you ain't seeing no, I mean, I ain't saying it ain't happening. I can't say it ain't happening. But you see more of them violence on between themselves than you know what I'm saying? You know? It's a lot of domestic violence within that LGBT culture. You know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on a minute. And they also say they had a lot to do with Ahmaud Arbery, even though he wasn't lynched. But let's see. You did have 3 Republicans vote against it. But they also say it's symbolic as well. So, you know, it's kind of weird. I got Frank in too.
What's up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm here. How y'all doing, man?
Frank Nitty. What up?
Anti-Lynch Bill.
Yeah, that shit crazy, man. That shit is symbolism, man. That's all that is.
I'm just reading it. It don't got a lot to do with lynching.
And then, you know, lynching is already against the law anyway, though, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
Capital 1 murder, isn't that?
Yeah. So why you need a law if you already got a law? They did say well, there is for federal legislation now at that though. But it is for federal legislation at that, so that's another problem we got. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe trying to come back in. Okay, he just left out, so he's gonna come back in. But yeah, that's what it's about. So this is not actually what it says. It's a bunch of lies and crap. Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had an important medical call. My doctor called me, so I had to take that call.
Gotcha. But everything, yeah. So we were talking about the Anti-Lynch Bill, which actually talks that has the text of it. It's not all about lynching. It's got aggravated sexual abuse, all these other things in there. What is that about?
Well, let me say this. Every bill, we have to remember this always. Every bill has pork in it, which means that just because you name something, everything about that bill, the same thing with the infrastructure. Everything that's in the infrastructure bill has to do with cleaning up the streets and building bridges and improving the highways and the byways in your town, city, and state. It's all of the other stuff in there. And many times the pork is what cannot stand on its own. It will be defeated on its own. So you sneak it into a bill that everybody approves of. Who's going to argue about Emmett Till anti-lynch bill? So if we can ease our thing into that bill, then we get our thing as well as what you think you got your something. Your stuff ain't even important. The main thing is what they wanted to push. And it's not about no anti-lynching. Come on now. That has not been a major issue in this country since the 1960s, to be real. When 200 times the bill has been defeated, it's been up for scrutiny since 1900, 122 years ago, and you finally get it through now. You think that all of a sudden everybody's attitude toward blacks is so changed that now it's time to do something that should have been done when lynching was at its highest point? 4,700 African Americans have been killed from lynching. And now finally, when it's maybe 2 or 3 every now and then, every once in a while, and then the old style of lynching hasn't been in existence for years. Now is the time when it means nothing. That's when they give us something. When it means nothing, that's why I call it symbolism and gestures, because that's what symbolism and gesture is. They're giving you something that means nothing. And that's what it always is about when you're talking about African Americans. Everybody else gets something that means something. $50 million means something. $60 billion means something. Getting half of a state like Oklahoma back, that means something. But you give us something about lynching that hasn't taken place on the scale that it was years ago. Now you finally give us the lynching bill. Come on. First of all, it's all pretense, because even naming it Emmett Till is a lie. Emmett Till wasn't even lynched. Emmett Till was shot in the head, eyes gouged out, and drowned. That's how he died, beaten up. But you're naming Emmett Till because you know it's going to tug at the heartstrings of black folk. Oh, yeah, I remember that little 14-year-old Chicago boy who went from Chicago to visit his family in money, Mississippi, poor boy. If you meant something about it, you'd get that old woman, that 88-year-old woman, Carol Bryan, who lied on the witness stand, that this boy didn't just whistle at her, but he had suggestive remarks and he was very enticing and all this kind of stuff to make it even sound worse. And she's sitting home raising both her boys there. Now they're in their 50s and 60s. Married 3
But so what he did? So what if he did? If he did do that? Does that warrant a beating? Does that warrant a beating? Does the offense?
She lied. She said that he approached her in a sexual way.
Okay, so does that warrant a beating?
Of course.
Does that warrant a beating?
No.
Huh?
No.
You know how many times I was on the bus, a little boy on the bus, and like 2, 3 years, 4, 5 years old, and wandered off and was rubbing up on a woman's legs or some shit? Does it warrant me getting my eyes gouged out and beat against you? You know what I mean? Really?
But Keep in mind that's 1955. I remember those things happening.
Man, I don't give a damn if it was,
What I'm saying,
705.
That was the order of the day in those days. You could even, let me tell you something. Back in those days when I was coming along, and I wasn't even in the South, I was in the North. I was in Philadelphia. When I was in Philadelphia, I couldn't even sit with the white folk in the movie house. We had to go up into the balcony. We didn't sit with the white folk. You didn't sit with places in my town. We'd be separated by a bridge or a railroad track, and we couldn't cross the railroad track. I had to go.
And you mean to tell me that relation don't need to be repaired? That damage don't need to be repaired?
Of course it does. But that mindset is still there in many people's mind. Why? Because
Yeah, it is.
what have they done with the woman? Nothing. They'll name something after Emmett Till, but won't bring justice to Emmett Till's and his family. Won't bring any real justice, because that ain't justice. Naming something after Emmett Till. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, it still won't be justice because some of the people, was she 80 years old? She lived a full life.
Yeah. She's 88 years old.
You know what I mean?
88 years old. She was 21.
Her?
1951 and 55.
Now some of the other people that was involved,
let me bring
they
up
maybe died and passed away.
They all did. They all.
Let me.
Well, ain't no justice.
Let
There
me
won't be no
quick.
justice.
Let me bring up something.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that we had a little mix up with the time, and I think the judge is also coming on as well. So that's one thing. I think I was trying to get back and I think we had a little mix up with the time, but it's okay. I'm glad all y'all on because we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna let him talk about this Lynch bill a little bit more. You see what I'm saying?
That's fine.
And stuff like that. But in the meantime, I wanted to bring up something, and I want y'all to hear this just in context. Because me and Frank talked about this last week. I think it's called The Hill. And this is for education purposes of 1976. And I want y'all to hear this.
Carvana's had a lot of firsts.
Can you hear that?
100% online car vending machines.
I want y'all to hear this in the first couple minutes.
What's on your radar?
Well, everyone is talking about a new world order. What does that even mean? What will the new world order look like? Who will control it? What has been touted as a right-wing conspiracy theory for the past few decades is now just loosely falling out of the mouths of global leaders everywhere. But before we get to the various world leaders touting a new world order, including Biden, Putin, Xi Jinping, the World Economic Forum, and others, let's talk about the people claiming it's a big conspiracy theory. The Anti-Defamation League categorizes the phrase New World Order under extremism, terrorism, and bigotry. They define it as, quote, a term used to refer to a right-wing conspiracy theory that became popular among anti-government extremists from the 1990s onwards. New World Order conspiracists believe that a tyrannical socialist one-world conspiracy has already taken over most of the planet and schemes to eliminate the last bastion of freedom, the United States, with the help of collaborators within the government. Through repressive measures, as well as manufactured crises such as terrorist attacks and pandemics, the globalist conspirators seek to eliminate dissent and to disarm Americans so that the New World Order can move in and enslave them. New World Order conspiracists also commonly believe that hundreds of concentration camps have been built in the U.S. ready to house dissenters, that the government will declare martial law, possibly on a pretext such as responding to a terrorist attack, and that the government will engage in mass gun confiscations. That sounds nuts, right? But if we rephrase it with fewer charged words, for example, let's replace tyrannical and socialist with authoritarian, change enslave with control, and swap out putting dissenters into concentration camps with something like silencing them on social media. It suddenly doesn't sound that insane. During the pandemic, many of us lost our freedoms, and in the recent era, we've seen dissenters put in jail, like Julian Assange and various protesters.
I hear that, right?
Now, despite the ADL claiming the idea of a New World Order as a conspiracy theory touted by conspiracy theorists, interestingly, numerous world leaders have been throwing the idea around. If you remember, just a few days ago, Biden was talking about a New World Order forming. Here he is.
We are at an inflection point, I believe, in the economy. Not just the world economy, the world occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of them, as the one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway.
Immediately, elite media rolled their collective eyes and said, "Oh, great! His innocent use of a phrase is just fodder for conspiracy theorists." Okay, maybe. But then, just these past few days, the World Government Summit convened in Dubai. It's a summit similar to the World Economic Forum. In fact, the two organizations are closely tied, and the key organizers are also members and young global leaders within the WEF. The two organizations are similar in that they both gather together the rich and the powerful to discuss the world's problems and how to solve them. This one is put on by a group of Emirati government officials. And this year's 2022 summit took on an eye-raising title.
And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
Well, even Klaus Schwab ran a commercial at the summit touting a new world order.
I'm going to stop it right there. But go to show that what I've been talking about for a while ain't no out of thin air lie that they keep them up. Oh, the ADL says a conspiracy theory and blah, 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 all that other nonsense. I mean, Biden them telling you themselves, man. I mean, they kind of just blowing the whistle. They've been real loose with it lately, too. I mean, I got the book sitting right here in front of me, but I mean, isn't it kind of crazy? They always call everything conspiracy theory and then it becomes conspiracy fact.
Well, let me tell you something. The concept of the New World Order predates the 1990s, predates the 1800s, predates the year 100. New World Order is in the Bible. A one world system.
What do you think about that, Shaq?
The Bible talks about an antichrist type figure. So the New World Order, if you know anything about history at all, and certainly biblical history, it's written that it's going to happen. We don't want to believe it because we think that we've been so indoctrinated. We're a democratic nation. We're not a democratic nation. I always say it. I challenge anybody to prove to me that this country is really a democratic nation. We're an oligarchy ruled by a few. That's already a new world order. You think those 435 House members and 100 senators really run this thing? You're foolish if you think that. You're foolish. They are. The strings are being pulled by an elite group that tells everybody what to do. World round. We got one monetary system now. We're moving toward it ambitiously. Everything is pointing to Big Brother. Remember 1984, Frank? That movie 1984, talk about Big Brother. He's watching you.
Yep.
That's a new world order mentality. There's going to be this eye that's watching everything you do. Already it's happening. When I was coming along, you didn't get a Social Security card until you were 16 when you were ready to work. Now, before they name you in the hospital, they already administer a Social Security number to you. That wasn't the way it was. You had to be 16 years old to get a Social Security card. That's how old I was when I got mine. Because it was the year that you were able to work is the year they gave you a Social Security card. Now, before you get out your mother's womb, good. Before they cut their umbilical cord, they already assign a number. Before you become Gerald Scott, you're number 182222345, whatever. Because they want to keep track of you. They want to know where you are, and so your name can change. I can change my name to Bernard Johnson Namar, but that Social Security number is going to follow me wherever I go. And you're already in that. Every time you go to the store and you swipe that card, that's your number. Those bars are you. Those bars are you. Those bars are me. Those bars are us.
That's why they call it a barcode.
It's a barcode. It's a code.
Mm.
They know where you live. They know your address. They know when you move. They know it all. Know your phone number just by that swipe. We're becoming a new world order. Big Brother is watching you.
What you got to say, Frank?
Yeah, that's true. What Darius just said. That's you know, that's basically a what's the name right? That number right there is basically a slave number, man. It's just like you know, they started doing that, you know, after they implemented the from Jekyll Island, and they you know, they crashed the monetary system, whatever, they crashed it, and then they implemented, you see what I'm saying? They implemented the income tax or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Because they're printing, and it's like to this day, they're still printing this money out of thin air. So they printing that money out of thin air, you know, it had to come back to somebody else, which is the people. So they figured out a way to pay that debt, those debts that they, you know, printing this damn money out of thin air back is by taxing everybody, man. And then, you know, giving everybody you know, a number, Social Security number. I did research that, you know, that went back to the Queen of England. That's what that went back to. You see what I'm saying?
You know what?
You know what? I still say this.
Jamaica, and they got lamb-basted by the Jamaicans over there. They say they want reparations.
You know what I see what this is? I say this is I still think this Bishop and you know, Frank, you know, I still think this is Reconstruction 2.0. I even go far as 5.0 Reconstruction.
No. Wait a minute, Shaq. Hold tight. It's not Reconstruction 2.0. You know what it's called?
What?
The Fourth Industrial Revolution.
You know what it's really called? Slavery 1.0.
Okay, well, yeah, I know they call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
That
means you're going to take humans.
Slaves
Yeah, that's true.
have no idea.
You're going to take humans, right?
There you go.
That's why you're the concentration camps. But it's a program called. Everybody can look this up. This is not no. Well, I don't believe we're conspiracy. All you got to do is go look up Human 2.0 in an Internet of Things, and it comes right up. Hold on a minute.
What we gonna say, Shaq?
Hold on, we got a guest here. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Hey, all right, young man.
Hey, Judge.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, Bishop.
Salute.
Judge,
salute.
Got a couple of gentlemen on here, Frank, Shaq, and Bishop. So we got the young and we got the elder statesman.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So
all
we
right.
got Judge Joe Brown here, and actually we've been on for a while, but we just want to recap a couple of things because probably be on about maybe now that you're on probably about another hour. So we were talking about this anti-lynch bill. Just give me your thoughts on it.
Bait and switch. Doesn't have anything to do with black folk. And here, this is an interesting stat. This is from Tuskegee Institute, who was keeping a study on lynching for a whole century. The last lynchings that occurred in the United States were in 1964. There were 3 people lynched that year, with 1 black man and 2 white men. A lynching is defined as a mob or large unruly gathering that takes matters into its own hands and performs an extra-legal execution or attempts to do so. This new anti-lynch bill changes it so it doesn't have to be a mob. It can be 1 person, 2 persons, 3 people that can perform a lynching. There does not have to be a homicide. It can be injury, which is not defined, as long as it's for these things: race, national origin, religion, and gender orientation. And if there's any harm done to somebody, it would even embrace stuff like guys in a bar, and he's been dancing with what he thinks is a fine babe, and then he finds out the babe's got a dick, so he says the F word, you know, and busts him in the mouth, knocks a tooth out. That becomes a lynching. And it becomes federal, and it carries from 10 to 30 years. Now, one thing that's bad about that, there are enough people sitting in jail right now because they had incompetent or ineffective assistance of counsel. No investigations done. And when you give the feds jurisdiction over a homicide, bad things occur because the federal system's set up to work with well-financed parties. So you've got 2 weeks, basically 15 days to do your investigation, file all of your motions, and get into it. And then the problem with it when you have the feds is Biden and Stennis got some stuff passed years ago so the feds can try you by ambush. If you get tried in a state court, they have to give you a list of witnesses, the addresses of the witnesses, the phone numbers of the witnesses, a theory of what their prosecution is going to be, any evidence that they have from any source or that they ought to have by exercise of what they call due diligence. Now, in the feds, the only thing they have to, with the feds, only thing they have to give you is any written statement from your client, and they can ambush you. They don't have to tell you who the witnesses are, what's supposed to have happened, other than a conclusory statement of an offense without specifying how the offense was committed. So they do trial by ambush, and that's the wrong kind of way to do a murder trial. Granted, there are situations where prosecution may show good cause to a judge saying this is organized crime. We don't want the witnesses all killed, but the feds make a presupposition that everything that they deal with is going to be organized crime rather than requiring that the prosecution put on proof that somebody is in that state, and they don't want somebody in a federal witness protection program to get snuffed. But that's not what's going on. We have a bad problem with this law because let's say 2 years from now, hot summer 2025, and some black people decide to protest and somebody throws a rock at a cop or something and one of them gets a bloody lip or cut or gets a stitch or two, then that becomes subject to federal prosecution for an attempted lynching. They want to classify, and specifically in the committee language, the record of what they discussed in committee when they were crafting the law specifically talks about George Floyd's situation would be the lynching, and in my opinion, no way, no damn how. Aubrey's situation down in Georgia would become a lynching. And basically, it's LGBTQ stuff. And it changes. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. One thing. This is important. See, it's the first time we've ever had gender orientation placed in the federal law. So one of the problems is going to be very nasty for the ladies. Let's say that you expect, based on the population and the educational levels, let's say half of your workforce for say something should be women, half men. Well, one half is obviously man, and then you got this other thing, since it's gender orientation, you have sissies claiming to be women, so you might find out that 30% of the workforce identifies as female, but it's still got a swinging dick. So what you may wind up with is 80% male and only 20% women. So it's going to screw the women, no doubt, because that gender orientation, it is 4 things: race, national origin, religion, and gender orientation. See, it doesn't even say sex in it. So it's pure poison. So with that, yeah, I didn't mean to keep going, but I thought that was a very important problem with what this thing does. Just one other point. It was introduced in 1997 by John Connors, and it kept getting tabled. They brought it up more than 20 times. John Lewis, before he died, tried to resurrect it. When Juicy Jussie Smollett faked that thing about that noose bit up in Chicago, that was in collusion with Kamala Harris, Imhoff, and Cory Booker, and they immediately tried to revive it by styling it the Anti-Lynch Bill, and that didn't work because it didn't get through the White House, thankfully for Trump. So what happens is when they get it again, they call it the Emmett Till Anti-Lynch Bill, and it doesn't even have a damn thing to do with black people. So, you know, it's just fraud, straight up and down, bait and switch.
I didn't mean to interrupt you on that, but let me bring this up because just as we were speaking, because I was looking for this girl that I think, and I'm gonna find that too. But she said that with that "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida, that people are gonna try to kidnap LGBTQ children. But just today,
bullshit. That goddamn piece of shit ass ignoramus is coming up with bullshit. See, we're supposed to deal with crap that some damn fool wants to extrapolate because he's coming from a freak position.
Wait a minute, Judge. Don't stop. Let me get this out. Because Joe Biden just had a press conference 2 hours ago.
He's a jackass idiot.
It's gonna stand up to transgender rights. And he said, and they're gonna deal with these hateful bills. So Disney park theme parks just yesterday came out and said that they're not going to say hello, sir, ma'am, hello, everyone, so forth, and like they're going to use gender neutral terms when you come to the park.
Look here, Disney World is taking money from the People's Republic of China, and they've already called that sissy shit an anathema.
They say so 50% of their movies to be LGBTQ.
And they've got,
they don't have enough.
And they've got, I know, 50% will be LGBTQ and or some minorities. And LGBTQ ranges, depending upon the part of the country, from 2 to 7% of the population that's local to that part of the country. So how in the hell they're supposed to get 50%, like they're trying to brainwash the public with BS propaganda? There's lies, lies, lies. Remember the propaganda thing that the Hitler boys came up with? Tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anybody to believe it. And my caveat is you can even get the lying dog that came up with it to believe it.
True. You say a lie.
It's nothing but lies. And by the way, do you know what the Russians are putting out? They're saving the world from this destruction of the nuclear family that the USA is trying to perpetrate, just like the US got back during the Cold War, talking about they're saving the free world from communism. They're also saying something else too, which, Bishop, we talked about this, I think last week. Mm-hmm. The Russians are mentioning that they're protecting the rest of the world from imposing a religion. And they say the United States government has an official religion now. It's called the LGBTQ cult. And if I might explain, okay, going to a synagogue if you're Jewish is a religion. Going to church if you're Christian is a religion. Going to a mosque if you're Islamic is a religion. But then again, going to a Buddhist temple, Buddhism does not deal with the deity. It's a philosophy.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I listened to a lecture about 20-some years ago from a direct descendant of Buddha. Oh. And then there's Zen, which is a philosophy, but it's classified as a religion. And then there's Hinduism, which, you know, is animistic with multiple gods, but it's classified as a religion. So if Buddhism and Zen, which have no deity or God, are classified as a religion, LGBTQ, the cult, dealing with a philosophy and outlook on life predicated on free homosexual sexuality or imposturing or sex and destruction of the nuclear family, that becomes under the definitions of religion. Now, you take a kid the mama takes the child in diapers to synagogue, church, mosque, temple. But the time they get to be a prepubescent teen, they are indoctrinated into the religion and they can't make a choice about it. The same thing. That's why you have these trannies talking to 2, 3, 4-year-olds in libraries, and the mama's taking them 3 or 4 times a week because they think they're getting them on academic junk. They're appreciating reading. And they also use the trans because they're dressed up like females, and human developmental psychology is such that human children are most responsible to the female until they get about 8. But then there's a subtle little thing they slick in. They make the women look like harlots. So there's a subtle built-in disrespect for womanhood. And then when they get into elementary school, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, which the parents' rights bill down in Florida addresses, well, guess what? They're not going to church, synagogue, mosque, or temple once a week like they are in the real world. They're going every day, all day long, 5 days a week. So by the time they get 8 years old, they're pretty much inculcated. And they're teaching them a form of deviant sexuality. And they're teaching them about destroying the family. They're teaching them to deceive their parents. They're teaching them that the child or children know more than their parents, and they're screwing up the whole damn family situation.
I want you to hear this. I found it.
Coverage, but the context is also who is pushing it, what their record is, and what the history is in Florida. You know, you can go back to the 50s, to the Johns Committee, where the legislature was actively put together a task force whose whole job was to root out civil rights workers and any homosexuals in the university system. They destroyed lives. Literally, people committed suicide behind the relentless attack. And then you have Anita Bryant, and many of us are of an age to remember Anita Bryant's Save Our Children campaign, which was premised on the same ideas that undergird this bill. And because of her campaign, that equated being gay with being a child predator, she was able to pass a ban on gay people being able to adopt, a marriage ban, and then she took that nationwide. And so when we react to this, a lot of us are reacting from the pain we experienced of being isolated and stigmatized in school. But we're also reacting from the reality that when they can erase you, when they can criminalize your existence, when they can demonize who you are, the next step is to criminalize you and take your kids. And we're already seeing that in Texas. So the slippery slope between these ugly messages, emanating from legislative leaders in our state, and then amplified by our governor, whose spokesperson immediately began calling everyone who opposed this bill groomers, aka pedophiles.
All right, so basically what she's saying is that people are trying to take the kids.
That is a lying scoundrel, or else a total ignoramus who is incapable of properly analyzing a legal situation. That is the rankest kind of propagandistic mess. That is reminiscent of the Nazis. Now, if these fools are so damn weak that they can't stand being talked about, which is the false basis for the censorship you hear all the time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and whatever else, YouTube, then we need to get rid of it, because there's never been any sanction against free speech in America, except when it's fighting words that are likely to produce an immediate violation of the public peace, dignity, and order by a combat between individuals, or it's something likely to produce total public disorder in a very bad way, like falsely yelling fire in a crowded theater. Other than that, if you impinge upon an individual's character, then you have an action for defamation, either slander when it is spoken or libel when it is written. Other than that, there is no sanction upon free speech, and they're trying to make it illegal. And that's why Putin is getting a lot of traction in the rest of the world when he's saying Russia is fighting Nazification. They cite the United States of America and this kind of First Amendment violation as saying this is highly reminiscent of what the National Socialist Workers' Party, aka Nazi Party, using the German acronym, was doing back in the early 1930s. They were taking these steps to suppress free speech. And this is the country that supposedly started free speech. Also, we are protecting the world from the destruction of the nuclear family because the United States has adopted an official religion known as LGBTQP. And you see, that's what they're doing, the way they're playing it to the rest of the world. And they are right on point. And they are showing photographs of the flagpoles in front of American embassies and consulates, where there's an American flag at the top and oftentimes a larger rainbow flag right under it. And that violates American law because you're only supposed to be able to fly under the American flag, a state flag, or that of a sovereign nation that you're honoring or that you have diplomatic relations with. And here they are putting up something from a cult, a quasi-religious cult, LGBTQ, under the definitions that allow not Hinduism, but Zen and Buddhism to be declared religions under American law. And it is scandalous because you can't teach any other religions in school. You can't teach any other philosophies formally, but you can teach this one and you can inculcate and brainwash the students with it. And this lying dog here pushing this lie pattern about them trying to take their children is ridiculous. And the other thing, why should they try to selfishly destroy what Mother Nature has worked 4 billion years to come up with about the way human children are supposed to be bred, raised, inculcated, and socialized in a nuclear family? And I can tell you this crap doesn't work out because they have not gotten an experimentally valid number of subjects who are now 65, 75, 85 years old, who've been raised in this non-nuclear family where there are 2 little sweetie boys or girls.
What y'all think about that?
And mother or dad,
right
dad for the family. And as a matter of fact, I've been in some elementary schools where the principals have invited me in, and then a teacher has come up, ma'am, we have a problem here with the children. And then, well, would you please tell me what we're talking about? You've called the parents. Yes. And the principals have said, sounds like you got another gay couple raising them. We get these same problems over and over with the dysfunction illustrated by these children. Something's going way wrong. And sure enough, half hour later, here comes the 2 guess what's walking in there. And you can shake your head because the principal's telling you what you're going to see when they walk in. And I haven't seen them before, and I don't even know who they are, but I bet you they're going to be. And that's what walks through the door. You see, there's a balance in humanity. There is this logical left brain stuff that men are famous for, and there's the emotive right brain stuff that women are famous for, and you're supposed to match them where there's a balance. And when you overload on one side, it gets crazy. But see, the other point that is physiologically interesting is a lot of the gay boys, they don't have the masculine left brain logical dominance, and they don't have the sparsity of synaptic connections between the left and right brain that is typical of human males. They've got a more enriched synaptic connection between the left brain and right brain than women do. And something is wrong with them. Like, okay, Bishop, you and I have visual acuity problems. That's not normal. The human norm for young folk anyway is 20/20.
Right, right.
You know, there is a thing. Some people can't hear. Frogs and snakes are sometimes born with two heads, and every now and then, very rare, there's a human born that way. That's not normal. Okay, some people are born blind, they can't see. That's not normal either.
That's true.
But when you were born with a proclivity to not deal with Mother Nature's routine, which is we are born, we are raised, we mature, we court, we have a good fuck, and the fuck is born when it matures after 9 months. The fuck gets raised, it gets acculturated and socialized, it grows up, it finds something to fuck, it fucks, and it has offspring that come from that. Basically, every person you see on the planet, unless they're from a test tube, is a successful fuck.
Yeah,
so
this is Bernard's show.
That's what it's about. You're here, you're born, you grow up, you mate, you breathe, you're raised, you die, and something else goes on. That's the cycle of nature. Now, sometimes we don't get into that, but that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, circumstances may dictate that the person can't. They've got problems. The situation they're in, they just never get around to it. But it is what it is. So they're trying to change that paradigm. And it started off 55 years ago with the predicated principle that men are fundamentally bad for everything. So they want to get rid of the masculine component of the human race. And that does not work. You just wait till China's Man Up program, Russia's Man Up program, the Caribbean's Man Up program, South America's Man Up program, and Africa's Man Up program says, hell no, we're not going to go. And we will become decadent and depraved, and we no longer will be at the top of the heap, just like Great Britain when they got a fit about 100 years ago and couldn't handle it anymore. They're not at the top of the heap. The Royal Navy does not rule the waves, and the sun sets often on the British Empire, which is no more. It's Commonwealth.
That's right.
So, I mean, that can happen to us. And we're sissifying ourselves, and you got this punk ass in the White House who is a racist dog, a bigot, and a jackass in chief. And you got this sweet little fuck freak that's the vice president, Mrs. Imhall.
Oh, my Lord.
And you got all the rest of this nonsense, and you got Cardi B's and Lizzo hippos, and they're running around naked, looking like harlots and destroying the respect that is to be given to women for being decent people. And it is absolutely ridiculous. And then you got that punk ass shit that you saw Will Smith, a nominal action hero, when he does that open-handed bitch slap. Oh, I'm on slappy, slappy, like he's doing a cartoon character for South Park. And then look at his wife. He's supposed to be defending her honor, and she's been on this month talking about he can't screw well anymore, and admitting that that punk ass with the A tattooed on his neck, who was screwing the Smith child, living in the Smith home, was screwing the Smith wife. And she admits it, and he put out a rap song on a CD bragging about screwing Mrs. Jada Pinkett Smith and how good a head job she can give. And she had the nerve to show up at a red carpet for a BET award thing with him. And he wants to defend her honor. And then what's the point? The couple before that, he says, man, I'd hate to be, Chris Rock says, Mr. Rock says, man, I'd hate to be so-and-so, like he and his wife are nominated for best actor, you know, like if he doesn't lose, he ain't gonna win. He probably thinking, oh, please, Will Smith, get the best actor of the year so I can go home tonight. And then he said, and Jada, I love you. This is a quote. He said, I see there's going to be a G.I. Jane too. Said, I'm with you. Now, a white girl plays G.I. Jane once. She had a head shave, and Jada doesn't have a slick head like it fell out due to chemotherapy. She's got a condition where it breaks off and it looks like stubble, like you shaved it. And who's got a quo vadis? And who says that Mr. Rock knew that she had the disease? She's been going everywhere with it, and she habitually wears a jewelry circlet around her head. And if he had kept his dumb ass in his seat, the day after, Hollywood Insider would be saying, breaking news, Jada Pinkett to play lead in new developing franchise, G.I. Jane, showing women in combat. What's the point? You get up with a jackass, you do a bitch slap on somebody, and he doesn't even wipe the grin off the guy's face, and he's still talking his lines. And he said, "What was that? Wow, wow!" And then see somebody I know who's one of the union people down there that does wardrobe said word to me. Said, "Look, the word down there is Chris Rock walked back into the green room. He said, man, I thought that dude was going to high five me." See, in Hollywood, they prank you. They done it to me. You know, like Smile, you're on candid camera, they prank you, and you're supposed to take it as serious. One of the things they do is if you're MCing something, sometimes they'll pull off something where one actor is doing something that you are unaware of just to get your surprise reaction to it. So Jamie Foxx is going, what this dude doing, man? You know, I mean, Chris Rock is going, what is this dude doing? Then he hits him and he doesn't stop grinning. He said, man, you know, so on. And he does the man thing. And this little bitch punk who's supposed to be an action hero, you know, playing Muhammad Ali, said, man, that had to be Hollywood special effects because that little bitch can't even land a punch. And the guy didn't even block it. You know, and then he switched his ass back to his seat.
Yeah.
Man, that was a punk play. Like, you know, Bad Boys, you supposed to be Lowry, you know, screws all the babes and all this, and your wife got on within the last 30 days, say you can't fuck no more, you know, like how embarrassing. And then you supposed to be Men in Black, you know, and you doing all the badass stuff, and Independence Day, and one, you know, he was fighting a clone of himself, you know, supposed to be the super spy, out James Bond, and he come up with that little punk head. And I'm gonna slap you. God damn, man. See, and that's the kind of crap they're trying to do. That's all part of a plot to put that sissy ass crap up in there and to hold up weirdos as our role models. And all of their children are all screwed up. See, that man that his wife, that boy that his wife was bragging about screwing was also screwing the son. So what the hell? Allegedly, anyway. I mean, damn. You're some freaks. And see, that's because they decided to be free, and their little children looking from the second floor at the top of the staircase, looking down, and mom and dad, you know, swinging and doing all that freaky deaky stuff, you know. No wonder they all came up strange.
Let me ask you a question, Judge. Well, no. Let me ask you a question. Look, I got all y'all on it.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Frank, Shaq, and Bishop, y'all go ahead and say something.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. I think
let me see.
I just think it was all, you know, it was all a bunch of BS.
I'm gonna go out if you can hear me and come back in.
All right.
I think it was a bunch of BS, man. You already know what I think, man. I did a quick little video on it. I just think, I think it was prepped up and staged myself. You know, the thing is, where was the security at? You know, there was no security. I didn't see no security around, right? Why was he laughing before? Wasn't he laughing at the joke?
Yeah.
So damn, he must be bipolar because at a split second or a split notice, the camera goes off them, and all of a sudden he's walking up to the stage and slapping him, right?
Well, Frank, the way that it went, he laughed at the joke,
Right.
But Jada did not. In fact,
Right.
she frowned at him and looked at him as if, you know, like some I don't know if it was signaling, or she certainly let him know she was not satisfied. Later on, he had an interview, and I do have that interview. Let me see if I can get it. He had an interview and explained that she actually pushed him into it. Now that's how I interpret it anyway. I put it like that. Let me see if I can get it.
But see, another thing too, you got to realize Pfizer. They you know, Pfizer you know, they funded. You see what I'm saying? They funded the Oscars. So the thing is, okay, you figure Pfizer funded the Oscars, and then Pfizer's coming up with this new treatment, with this new medication that treats alopecia and you know, and immune-borne illnesses. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that, I mean, that's another thing right there. That's kind of a red flag right there. So it's kind of like, and all of a sudden it comes out that she has alopecia. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I just think they were kind of like advertising for this new medication, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it.
Bernard, if you would allow me to play this, can I do it?
Go ahead.
This is what Will Smith, an interview after the fact, after this situation happened. Let me play it for you very quickly.
There's probably a part of that in there, but this is so deeply not about me. I thought it might have been. So just to be clear, you slapped Chris Rock for making a joke about your wife's bald head, but you didn't slap August for smashing your wife? No, I was out of the country at the time.
Sound like sound like some BS.
And as I say,
that sound like some punk ass shit. Who knew that he was cracking on your wife? What's her name? Demi Moore? She shaved her head. The white chick, Demi Moore, that played G.I. Jane.
G.I. Jane, right.
She shaved her head. It had the stubble on it, just like Jada. So what the hell?
Right.
Jada Pinkett, you know, she played the gangster in Gotham, the prequel to Batman, and she's played the villain, and she's played spy, hit woman, and, you know, gangster and all of this. So how are we to know? I didn't even understand what it was about until somebody explained it to me. What the hell are you talking about? What she got? Hey, hell. You know, that's like when Bruce Willis lost his hair. They got to teasing him about being a billiard ball. You know, like, man, you're going to play the billiard ball, man, you know, or you going to play Telly Savalas, man. We're going to have another one of those detective shows. They were teasing him about it. And then remember, they have Hollywood roast all the time, and they really get wicked. Or look at Ellen DeGeneres.
And Judge, remember Don Rickles? He did everybody, black, white,
and then
women, kids, your mama. He would talk about everybody under God's heaven and say the most grossest things. I mean, the most vulgar stuff. And he was a hero almost. You know, everybody loved Don.
Yeah. And look at Ellen DeGeneres the last time she emceed the Oscars. She talked about everybody sarcastically and awful. Every single somebody came up. And then look at this. You mean to tell me that this punk ass hasn't taken his behind down Sunset Boulevard and gone to the Comedy Zone, the Comedy Club, the Comedy Channel, and all of those comedy establishments all up and down Sunset, where the trend is you wolf on somebody, and all of these celebrity roasts that they have all the time?
Always.
What's wrong with him?
But see,
Martin,
that's it. They are narcissistic, man. Jada Pinkett, they narcissistic because you're gonna come to the award show, Oscars, after 6 years later, after you done told people to boycott it because it's so white, and now you're gonna show up in the facility daring people to say anything toward your newfound so-called medical condition. That's a narcissistic behavior all the way, 1,000%. You know what I mean? Narcissistic behavior, 1,000%.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
I think it's all part of this whole thing to sense it. Oh my God, we can't say anything that makes anybody uncomfortable. Say your punk ass probably wouldn't have been able to survive on a playground. Where did you grow up, you little sissy punk ass? Obviously didn't have no damn daddy around. Hey man, I won't say nothing about your mama, man, but I was over there night before last, man, when your daddy was at work, man. I hope you don't get upset that I done started you a new baby brother on the way, man. He be there in 9 months. Hey man, I won't say nothing, man. But that's a coincidence, man. That same night, I wasn't in bed, man. I was over at your house. I was fucking your mama and your sister. We was having a threesome, man. They sure can't give good head. He would have lost his damn punk ass mind.
But yeah, he didn't have no.
By the way,
the guy actually had an affair with his wife. You know, like you just said. You know, he was that's the son's friend. He's talking about he was out of the country. See, the thing is, he felt he could do that. I mean, I know it's staged, but he felt that he could do that to Chris Rock. You see what I'm saying? It's all.
Yeah, I know. And Chris Rock, I'll give him this. He didn't even know anything about it. From what like my source said, he down in the green room after. So man, I thought this dude was gonna give me a high five, man. What the hell was that? Now I don't know how true it was. I wasn't there, but that's what got relayed to me. So I mean, it may be somebody.
But you know what, Judge?
I thought he handled. I thought Chris Rock handled himself well.
What you're saying makes perfect sense. I mean, he picks the time that he wins the Best Actor award and the Academy Award. Just before he receives the award, he does this craziness. You know, and then
did you see the sister sitting next to him? Looked at him like she was like, what's this? And when he came back, she looked at him like, damn, fool. And wait a minute, let's get to the big thing. It's the first time it's ever been done. And you had a black MC, you had a black director, a black producer, and mostly black cast. They ain't never gonna let them Negroes back again for missing that little gay action up they got with the Oscars.
That's what I said too. That's what I said on my show. That you know, the MC was black, and his you know, they basically produced the whole like, you know, produced the whole show.
Will Barker, he's a black man. The whole team was black. And then the Best Actor award went to a black man. And the Best Actor award went to a black man. So all
that was Samuel Jackson, right?
No, him.
Samuel Jackson got the Best Actor award, right?
No. Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson got his first Oscar that night too.
Best supporting.
One of the sites had a joke about him. Our monologue. So what's the problem? That's what they do. That's what comedians are hired to do.
Will Smith punked out. I think he's under high stress. Maybe
his
wife talking about he can't do it no more. And that boy talking about, I've been fucking your son and your wife.
Oh, man.
Damn, that's some cold-blooded shit, man.
Hey, Judge, I hate to say it. Hey, Judge, what you think? I hate to say it. It's time for the Mockingbird.
Staying up in your house, too, man.
It's time for the Mockingbird and the
yeah.
Get the Mockingbird.
And staying up in your house, man, and he's screwing your child and your wife.
But he was out of the country. That was an excuse.
Yeah, but he don't have to be screwing him that time. He's still staying up in there. Dude got to come back home to visit parents. So what is he doing staying up in there any damn way? Like he's supposed to be a successful rap artist with his own dwellings, or does he have to stay with somebody else's parents or freaks?
Yeah, or a combination of both.
But you know, that's pretty
let me
weird
read
because
let me
you know
read
the
got
Sunday.
something to say right here.
let me read
I got
this.
something
I
to
pulled.
say right here. This is crazy.
Hold on, I pulled this up. It's from the archives of the Tuskegee Institute. I was talking about this stuff with rape. Lynching. The total number of people lynched in the century, matching the legal definition of lynched for this century, ending in 1964 and starting right after the Civil War, was 4,742, and more black folk are killed by black folk on a regular basis every year. Of that, 3,445 were blacks and 1,297 were white. And see, when you talk about lynching, you also have to consider Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, Wild Bill Hickok et al., saving the prisoner in their jail from being lynched by the mob that wants to hang them because they think they raped or murdered somebody. It doesn't have to be black. You see where this is going? So these fools sit up there and start, and then one asshole said, I'm going back to this, said, oh my God, after 150 years, they finally get something against anti-lynching with all of the lynchings that have been occurred. The last time there was a lynching almost made the press was guess when? That's when Rittenhausen shot them two damn assholes who were in a lynch mob that were closing in on him. And under that state's law, there's a presumption that if people are in a violent mob destroying property and advancing, there is a presumption that they are going to render death a serious bodily injury. You don't have to wait, you can shoot. So he did, and the jury acquitted him properly. But all these leftist counterculture idiots were all the gas that he escaped justice. No, he did justice, and their goddamn thing, this anti-lynch law bullshit, described the situation. A violent mob burning stuff down and attacking a person. That's a lynch mob, not two people, not somebody up in a nightclub. You know, like what Will Smith did. If he'd been a white boy, he could have claimed, somebody could have claimed it was a lynch effort if he had hit him hard enough to hurt him.
So let me ask you a question. So just by Biden announcing this today, I'm just asking the question. By him announcing, hey, what's up, Dawes? Just by him announcing this today, that we're going to mess with these hateful actions. Like, I mean, like, yo, like, damn, and you got Cory Booker who sits up there every day and keeps on. You got Cory Booker, Clyburn, Kamala Harris, all of them sitting around there when they sign this act. And who they bring on the news first? Cory Booker every day to talk about it. They brought him on at least 2 or 3
that
times.
Cory Booker looks like he wants to drop on his knees so bad and pucker up for a popsicle to be stuck in his mouth.
Come on, man. I mean, it's pathetic,
and
man.
Clyburn does too.
Yeah, I can't. I remember I was talking.
Oh, they look so.
I was talking to my pops about Jim Clyburn. I'm like, man, Jim Clyburn doesn't. This cat right here, man. He pushed that. To get them Indians and stuff like that, get their land and stuff like that to push for us. But what about us, man? See, that's why I'm just like, enough with this damn government. We got to do for self, man. We got to do for self. These people are just symbol tokens, right? Jim Clyburn, he doesn't even care about people in his district, just like Maxine Waters. Look at South Central right now. South Central is horrible, man. It's in slums, man. It's like, we're only like, what, 6% of the population, 8% or something like that. And
word up.
And look
she
how
doesn't even represent South Central. She represents Venice Beach area where they got all those freaks and all those drug needles all over the sidewalk that you got to be careful to step.
Even worse. And see,
let me tell you about that heifer. I want to interject something on this. It was way back when I was still at UCLA and she was running for her first political office and she sent out notice to come. So it was a sister. We decided to go. It was at somebody's house up in Bel Air where they were having a pool party. So people were coming from the office, from work, and from campus. And when we got up there, there was only one somebody in a swimsuit besides some children that was in Maxine Waters with a little white string bikini on with all of her ass crack out at the top and her tits bouncing out trying to play hoe so everybody would donate to her campaign. She looked a lot better then. She was younger, a lot younger, but, you know, that's what you have. Now, with that, that just adds a little groundwork for.
I want to bring up something about Joe Biden today. Joe Biden just said the U.S. is going to release how many? Wait a minute. How many barrels of oil did he just say they're going to release? They're going to release. Let's see how many. I just had it and I missed it. Oh, here it is. They want, if the bottom line, we want to lower gas prices. We need to have more oil supply. The U.S. will be releasing 1 million barrels of oil per day for the next 6 months. That's what he said.
Okay, I tweeted 2 weeks ago and on Dana and with Valerie, I said it's a dodge. They want to acclimate the public to an oil shortage, so they will say the ultimate objective is to save the Ukraine and Europe from Russian blackmail and to impose sanctions on the Russians. They want to get around their promise to pursue green energy and cut back on oil usage and reopen the pumping situation in the United States. We import 99.9999 etc. of our domestically consumed oil. Now, because it's imported, here's the scam. 25% of that has to go into the American oil reserves. And by federal law, every barrel that goes into the oil reserves has to have an extra little gratuity tacked on of $5 per barrel that goes to the oil companies. So 25% of everything they bring in, which is 99% of everything used, 1/4 of that goes into the oil reserves, and all of those barrels that represent 1/4 of everything imported get an extra $5 bonus tacked on top of it at taxpayers' expense. See, this thing about releasing oil reserves, that isn't much. The facts are that if they didn't pump another damn drop, the oil reserves that are just on the island of Oahu, where Pearl Harbor and Honolulu are located, could operate the U.S. economy at 150% of its current rate for the next century without exhausting just that oil reserve. If we ramped up to 250% of our current usage, and we just went after the oil reserves generally for the next 100 years, it wouldn't even use up 1/4 of what's in the oil reserves. So this usage of imported oil gets a gratuity paid for by the taxpayers of $5 per barrel, and that constitutes 1/4 of everything brought in.
I got one subject to bring up, Judge, before I get out of here. I got one subject to bring up because now I can talk about it. I can't be censored, and they can't block me on Facebook no more for it. The Washington Post and every news article now is saying, hello, Hunter Biden, you did what you did. Joe Biden say, I cannot go to the Ukraine because of security measures.
No, because he's under indictment, you jackass.
Taking you down for 30 days. So it's good that finally the conspiracy theory, they say, who said there was Russian collusion and even Hillary Clinton got to pay the fines. I am so glad I can report on this now. I did it anyway.
You couldn't say it because it was a lie. It was
That's right.
Lying and spreading misinformation. Oh, yeah, that's their new Nazi little phrase, misinformation. Now, you see something else, too. I'm predicting this. as bad as Biden is, he's got the lowest approval rating of any U.S. president since they have been keeping these stats. Kamala Harris has got even worse ratings. In fact, hers are even below the previous low, which was
24%.
No, Tricky Dick Nixon's vice president.
Well, Putin got a higher rating.
Wait a minute, wait. The man that did federal time in the federal penitentiary, that did time in Maryland for time, Spiro Agnew, had higher ratings than Kamala Harris Imhoff. And you know what happens? Every time the ratings drop below a certain percentage, and they're way below that now, the party that holds the White House loses whatever House of Congress or Chamber of Congress it controls. So that means they'll lose the House. That means they will drop further behind in the Senate. Now, what does that mean? They set the precedent for impeaching somebody, which they couldn't get a conviction on because it didn't state any grounds for impeachment that are cognizable by the Constitution, Article 2, Section 4. But they said we impeached Trump when he was no longer president. Well, guess what? You can impeach Biden for his actions as vice president and evoke the 12th Amendment, which says he could no longer hold office anymore. So what is it? You've got in the Ukraine, you've got a huge long indictment charging him with conspiracy, bribery, extortion, subornation of perjury, subornation of treason. What does Article 2, Section 4 say you can be impeached and convicted for? Bribery. And out of his own mouth, I heard him say on that C-SPAN thing 3 years ago in January, I guess I'm guilty of bribery. I told them that I would see that their $14 billion loan guarantee was cut off if they didn't back that prosecutor off of my son.
And he bragged about it.
Hold on. Yeah, he bragged about it. Yeah. And then hold on. The second ground is treason. Mm-hmm. Now, has he committed treason? Maybe. But then the third ground is clear. High crimes and misdemeanors, which are felonies and misdemeanors while in office. And while we whoop-de-doo, here he is indicted for multiple counts of extortion, embezzlement, subornation of perjury. And is that important? Well, here it is. Constitution itself says the supreme law of the land shall consist of the Constitution, 1, 2, such laws passed by, promulgated by Congress to effectuate the Constitution. In other words, laws that they pass to make the Constitution work. And 3, such treaties as have been ratified by the Senate. And we have multiple treaties with Ukraine ratified by the U.S. Senate saying that we agree to extradite criminal elements who've been indicted by the Ukraine, and they agree to extradite people that we've indicted. So while we whoop-de-doo, they're exercising diplomatic immunity for Biden, Joe, but Biden Hunter has no such, so neither one of those jackasses can take their little funky criminal butts up in Ukraine without getting snatched, or at least creating a diplomatic incident. So that would give grounds to certainly impeach, and it would certainly establish grounds to convict. And by the way, under the Constitution, you don't have to actually be convicted of the crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. All you have to do is be subject to the civil standard, which is more likely than not by the preponderance of the evidence. And while we whoop-de-doo Joe Biden, that has often been interpreted this way. Probable cause to return an indictment usually suffices to establish more likely than not when it comes to a civil matter. So here we go, more likely than not, resulting in probable cause for an indictment. And Ukraine's laws are very close to ours when it comes to what probable cause
Are we
is.
vindicated?
So this jackass is likely to be impeached and convicted. See, when they brought Trump in, it was for obstructing Congress. But you see, the Constitution, Article 1 says Congress shall consist of two chambers, the House and the Senate. So all they had to do was take a poll. Hey, you guys in the Senate, did you feel obstructed? No. Well, that's out of here because it doesn't count obstructing the House of Representatives. The charge was obstructing Congress. So the dipshits in the House of Representatives did not read the U.S. Constitution when they grandstand this bullshit and didn't read anything and didn't realize the Constitution says Congress is the House and the Senate, not just the House.
Right.
And then he abused his authority. There is no such goddamn action under the Constitution as abuse of authority because, one, that's not bribery. Two, that's not treason. And three, it's not an articulated felony nor misdemeanor. So it's dead on arrival. And then the other damn thing that came back the second time was straight on the First Amendment, where it says the right to assemble and petition for redress of grievance, which can be by demonstration, protest, or something in writing.
Let me
so the jackasses didn't even know the law.
Shaq, Frank, Bishop, myself, and Judge Hayes. Do you feel vindicated? Because this information been out. They just acting crazy. Now, today is also, I just got a text, and actually I had to look it up. The reason why Biden said we're gonna do stuff for the hateful acts because today is National Transgender Day, so that's what you call symbolic posturing to the
what? What? Cross-dressing freaks?
It's their day.
Oh hell no!
This is their day.
What in the hell is a civilized country celebrating some cross-dressing freaks?
Their day. They be careful. This is their day.
They get a bunch too, right?
What the hell are they gonna do?
Cross-dress.
They got a day too, don't they? I mean, you got Black History Month, Women's History Month.
Oh, it punks. And then this other thing, see, we got to get away from
June is Pride Month.
Yeah, but see, we got to get. It's a longer day than Black History Month, isn't it? And what is it? We got a much higher percentage of this country's population.
They got Juneteenth and Black History Month too.
Yeah,
Juneteenth and Pride Month.
Yeah, but hold on a second. There's a much higher percentage of the American population that is black, obviously black, with African ancestry, than there are freaks that follow that cult.
Let me say something here.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. By a whole lot.
So why do they get the longest month of the year, a longer month of the year than we do? We only get 28 damn days.
You said they're a cult. That's why.
God, it's taking that long to put their costume on.
We need to. You know what we need to do? Just we could do.
Wait a minute. I got
wait a minute. Wait. We each could do this.
Go ahead.
Do this. Just like you get these plaintiffs who file these federal complaints saying they object to nativity scenes in City Hall. We could file saying we object to rainbow flags on City Hall. Rainbow colors painted on the crosswalks or the sidewalks, rainbow banners hung from federal buildings. See?
We could do that.
And define that crap as a religion, just like Buddhism, Zen,
Christianity,
you name it.
Yeah, name them all. Name them all.
See, we can mess them up.
Now listen, I just want to say this about USA Today. Listen closely.
I can't hear
Americans who say they are satisfied with the acceptance of gay and lesbian people in the country has reached a new peak
Boy,
of 62%, according to a
you
poll
try this
released
one more
Wednesday.
damn time.
So, do you 62%? That's a lot. That means you saying that more than half the population agree with this.
Oh man.
Huh?
He can't hear you.
Oh shoot.
He
It
can't
is a
hear
clown show. Yes, Dawson, we should start a heterosexual day. Unfortunately, that would be gay bash to them. But I really
No, hey, look, hold on, Bernard. I already got it started. Check my Facebook. Go down the timeline, player. I already got it started. We just need to get into place. We can start our own day hashtag. I mean, our own day. We can do that
man.
and get it registered.
What color? Hey, what color we gonna use, man? Shit, they got a whole lot of goddamn colors, man. Hey, under the word intersectionality. See that? That's what they keep saying. But they're saying that 62% of these people, 62% of the population agrees with this. I don't see 62%. Can you hear me? But you might can't hear me again. Maybe I should move them out. But nevertheless, 62% of the population, they say agrees with this. But 62% of the population not say nothing. But I don't think 62%.
I'm gonna have to get off and get back in because I can't get you guys. I can't hear you.
Does not agree. Because that's the case, the daggone, when they have a pride parade, people would go with them to the pride parade, but we ain't going. So
I know. I ain't going to no pride parade.
Exactly. You ain't gonna go to. I ain't going to one neither. Matter of fact, I don't even know where one at.
I'm not
in New York, California.
I'm not even interested, so I don't look for it. I don't look for no pride parade. You know, they can parade all they want.
That's what I'm saying.
Parade with the finery. They can do all that mess. You know, do what you got to do, but don't be including me in that mess. No.
Well, the sad thing is, I was looking at something this morning, and they were actually talking about children. That I think the lady said that she got 2 LG and 1 transgender. She got a pansexual child, a transgender child, and another child. I'm looking at this interview. I'm like, is this woman crazy?
Yeah, man. They be locked up. I'm sorry.
I can't believe this. Right?
That's child abuse.
This shit. Like,
it's the dope.
where are they finding these people? As a matter of fact, it was about Disney. Because you know Disney is having a lot of problem right now. Disney said they gotta make 50% of their content LGBTQ.
Damn.
All right, Judge. This is what happened.
How about if we talk about Disney? 1954 they opened. They hired their first black man in 1964. He was a brother who had a processed head looking like James Brown, with a do-rag blue with white polka dots on it tied around his head. He didn't have on a shirt. He had on a black vest with his bare chest showing, some high-rise black Frisco jeans, tap dancing and shining shoes on Main Street.
Oh, wow.
1966, they hired their first ticket takers who were black. There were 6 classmates of mine out of UCLA. I went through there in 1987, and I saw there were in that day 450,000 people in attendance. There was 1 light-skinned young black female who was on a float. That was the only one in there. Now they're gonna do this crap, and they don't even have a representative number of black folk down in Orlando, where it's Thug City, right down the roadway. And they can't find anybody black to work at Disney World in Orlando. And they damn sure don't have any working at Disneyland in Anaheim. And they want to do something. I remember when I was at college, we had to go run some errand for a professor. We were getting paid, me and 3 other guys. We were in a state vehicle. We couldn't find a place that turned out to be 3 blocks from the Disneyland parking lot. This cop pulled us over and said, "Gentlemen, you appear to be lost." "Well, yes, sir, we are." "What are you trying to find?" And we told him, "Oh, well, the reason you can't is in an alley. You go down here, go down there. He said, now it's winter and it's a little after 4:30, about 4:40. In a few minutes, it's going to be dark. And when it gets dark, it ain't going to be sir anymore. It's going to be nigger. Now, do you understand what I'm telling you? So complete your errand.
Oh, yeah, it's very racist. Disneyland is so racist.
Yeah. Now, see, that racist mouse world has not even dealt with black folk, and they're trying to say that they want to represent the public as 50% LGBTQ. See, that's one of the reasons they're getting away with this crap, because part of propaganda 101B misleads your target into believing that the numbers are false, or that the false numbers are real, and get them to think that they are in a minority when
Let me
they're
play my
not.
last clip of the day. Play my last clip of the day.
Celebrating Transgender Day of Visibility. I want you to know that your president sees you. Jill, Kamala, Doug, our entire administration sees you for who you are, made in the image of God and deserving of dignity, respect, and support. But we know it's hard when there are those out there who don't see you and don't respect you. For example, the onslaught of anti-transgender state laws attacking you and your families is simply wrong. This administration is standing up for you against all these hateful bills, and we're committed to advancing transgender equality in the classroom, on the playing field, at work, in our military, in our housing and healthcare systems, everywhere, simply everywhere. Today, we're announcing even more steps, but there's always more work to do to end the epidemic of violence against transgender women of color and girls of color, to ensure transgender seniors can age with dignity, and to finally pass a bipartisan law to help transgender persons around the world live free from discrimination and violence. Above all, to be there with you. To parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them
How
safe.
the fuck is a child supposed to be transgender?
Please
They
know.
ain't even had a heart on, and certainly ain't
Parents and
had a
children
wet
alike,
twat and don't know
please
what the
ask for
body
help.
parts are. How
Know
the
this.
hell they gonna be
So
transgender?
brave. You belong. And we have your
Unless
back.
you've been trying to convert them, you sleazy, corrupt, sick ass, low down, no good, scurrilous, scoundrel, sick, perverted, pedophilic assholes.
Hey, what the fuck? Come on, man.
I said that
Hey, see,
somebody
these
was gonna
old,
be pushing Freak City, didn't I, when he was running?
what in the hostess cup
Come
shit?
on,
What you talking about?
Everybody that listened, he was a pervert in that fuck freak that is sitting up there next in line, a heartbeat away.
Hey, man. Hey, that is some crazy shit, man. I can't. Hey, man,
These
you were doing a
low-down
whole lot of
degenerates.
pandering, man. I said, good.
These
Jesus.
low-down degenerates. See, I can understand somebody that's just fucked up in the head. They can't help it. They want to be
Come on, man. Jack,
homosexual.
Man. Wow.
But there's no
Jesus.
goddamn excuse for these cross-dressing fools that want to sit up there. See, birds and mammals, they either, male and female, either smell different, they look different, their color different, or their size different. And since humans don't walk around naked, what they wear is supposed to represent what's underneath the clothing. And when you let these punk asses walk around dressed like a sex they are not, then it screws a whole lot of crap up. It screws up the human mating game. That's why people your age, young brother, are having it such a hard damn time trying to find a woman. You don't even know who the hell is a woman.
Oh, I know what one is, man. Don't get me wrong.
And that's
I know
why
what
they
it
put
is.
that crap
Then
in
I
that
know what to
Lynch
do. I
bill.
find out it ain't
They
too.
put that shit in that Lynch bill, not sex, but gender orientation. And we gotta stop replying to these folk by saying a trans woman. Ain't no trans woman, just a transvestite.
Right.
Hey,
Does it have a dick or a twat? And if it got a twat, it's girl. If it got a dick, it's boy.
That's right. We're not one and the same. But I'm just saying the way he's pandering to them. You know, he's saying that it's an epidemic of violence.
He said he was going to do it up front.
I ain't heard of one.
And he told
One of them get killed in my state.
Negroes, he told these damn fool Negroes he wasn't going to do shit for them.
Yep.
He said he promised the first 180 days in office he was going to do everything he could for these freaks.
Well, I see more lesbian on lesbian violence than we just see the lady shot the lady in the head.
That's true.
Did we not see the lady shoot a mate in the head? Okay.
Nobody talk about the lesbians.
Yeah, they hurting each other, man, big time. Them lesbians be hurting each other, man, killing each other, big time.
Hey,
throwing each other off, allegedly pushing each other off, tall buildings, allegedly.
And see, they are not doing what is necessary for them to meet their obligations to humanity. These are some selfish, scurrilous bastards who are trying to escape the duty they owe to humanity as real men or real women. And
now let's go back. He said the military, right, Judge?
Yeah, what's that?
He said military, children, every aspect of society.
Yeah.
That was an act of treason right there.
See, they want us to take those goddamn selfish bitches and bastards. Want us to have to pick up the slack because they're shirking their responsibilities to the human race.
Well, Ukraine's
and they're messing us up. They're messing up the dating game. I mean, I'm the oldest one on here, and my radar still works. I ought to turn that off because I don't know whether I'm looking at man or woman.
Hey, well, look, I'm going to be real straight with you. You look, if it looked like a woman, make sure, but in 10 years from now, guys, might ask for birth certificates. Hope y'all still alive in 10 years, actually. Both of y'all older than this. Hope all still alive. But might ask for birth certificates and stuff. I just told you on the plane now, passport, they say to have a passport. They have gender X passports. No, gender neutral passports.
You know what's going to happen?
Damn, dude.
Some damn fool's going to go for that. And when the thing gets to some country, the wrong country, they're going to... When they walk out, they're going to snatch his ass. He's going to disappear. He's going to put his ass on a wall.
Well, that's like Brittany Griner, Judge. You know Brittany Griner? They're saying that, she's been attacked by epidemic of trans violence, LGBTQ. And Russia's anti-LGBT. You know the woman is over there in Russia. I'm talking about the basketball player.
Oh, the one that walked through the airport, tried to get on the plane with the jar of cannabis oil. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. God damn.
Well, she got a history of domestic violence. So,
so she's a damn fool any goddamn way. She'd get put in jail if she tried to do that in America.
Judge, I will say this. Her fellow WNBA players were told to be quiet because they don't want to make her a political pawn. Lisa Leslie came out and said,
what's his name that got banned? Bunch of nappy-haired hoes, he called them, allegedly. But what did that fine Williams woman, who not the one that played basketball, that was a superstar, said, I quit, I can't take it. 98% of them up in here.
Wiggins.
Yeah, she said Wiggins.
Okay.
Wiggins. I know it started with a W. She said, all of these lesbians up here are just trying to make my life miserable. I don't have to put up with this. There's some better things I can be doing with myself.
Yeah, it was bullying her. She came on and said they was bullying her because she was a heterosexual black woman. Yes. Yep.
And speaking of that, Shaq, let me bring up something. I want to bring up something right quick. I'm going to bring this up just before I go. Because I think about a year ago I was DJing and it was a young girl. She was brilliant. She had a good rap song and she had a little dance team with her. Yeah, it's Candace Wiggins. But she had this little girl could rap. She could, but the thing that she had they focused on anti-bullying song, and I played her song, I recorded it, and I listened to it. And she was brilliant artist. I got to get her, I forget her name. I think her name's China or something. But when I looked at the context of it, I looked at it like you're starting an anti-bullying campaign. When I came up, I didn't know the anti-bully. The only thing a bully had to do was either you was beat his ass, he was whip your ass. That's it. I don't know what no anti-bullying, all this anti-bullying campaigns and stuff. Oh, stop bullying me. No, there is no anti-bullying. It either get down or lay down. None of that bullshit. They talk.
Or you smart enough.
The song she had was great. So she's great. She was great at what she did.
One other one. You're smart enough to put together a posse so you got some backup.
Yeah. But she was brilliant, though. I'm taking nothing away from the young girl. She was brilliant. I'm just saying that the anti-bullying campaign, I just didn't understand why that's what her
Cause it's on. All that punk out shit that they're pushing, these goddamn trans freaks and these sissy motherfuckers and gender identification crap so that they can be safe from having to be men, or they can go and try to act like they're men with impunity so they don't suffer an ass whooping for faking it when they got twats and not dicks. See, they can safely imitate having a dick when they got a twat, or they can imitate having a twat when they got a dick without getting an ass whooping. That's what it's all about. This is a question for
men and women right here. This is a question for men and women. There's women in the panel, there's men in the panel. So there's men in the women in the chat. But Judge, I'm just gonna ask this: what Judge, Bishop, and everybody can answer, and then we can close out. And I'm gonna ask the question, and I'm gonna start it off. What happened back to accountability and responsibility? Well, over the last decade, I have seen it drop off in answer. Like, I can say something to somebody, and then they'll get mad. I'm like, then they'll come back next week and say, "I'm sorry." I said, "What you mad about?" Wasn't mad with you to start with. It's just that, that in this culture that we're living in now, or subculture really, you want to be mad with me, but I'm not mad with you. I just waited for you to get back to me because you had a problem with me because I said something to you, but this is how I talk all the time. I've always talked like this. People that know me in my life, they know, hey, either he's going to be quiet or he's going to talk like that. So when we get into this thing of a no accountability factor, we put ourselves up for a big daggone problem. And that's why Joe Biden and me going on. But I'm going to come down to board Shaq. What you think about accountability and where did it go? How did it mess up?
Because I always say crap like this jackass in chief in the White House. That's one of the causes of breakdown right there. That bastard that's supposed to be Mr. Law and Order. That punk ass motherfucker is one of the reasons we got a problem.
Go ahead, Shaq.
And that made me so goddamn mad. Shaq, excuse me, brother. I didn't mean to intrude.
Oh no, oh no, man. Hey, nah. Matter of fact, I want you older gentlemen to go first. I want you older gentlemen to go first.
Go ahead, Bishop. He wants y'all to go first. He yields the lead to you.
Bring down the wrath on him.
Hey, you're on mute. Put your mic on. Put your mic on.
I'm sorry. I remember there was a day that decency and morality was the order of the day. That you stood for something and you fell for little. You were not manipulated. You did not allow people to manipulate you. You had your own mind. You had your own commitments. You had your own values. All those things are gone. When Judge and I came along, my grandfather had values. He instilled those values in us and the other men in our community. Even if, like myself, I did not grow up with my father in the house, but I had strong men in my family. That those men were strong, they were committed, they were dedicated, they were moral, they had ethics, and those things were instilled in us. And we lived by those standards. We respected them. we revered them to a certain extent. We certainly loved them, and we wanted to emulate them. I want to be like my grandfathers. I tried to be like my grandfathers as I became a father, as I became a grandfather. I wanted to be like them because I admired them so much. They had control of the family, not with an iron fist always, but what they said they meant. And you could depend on them, not just in words, but in action. They were men who acted the way they spoke. Whatever their standards were, that's what they did. I could count on them. When I needed advice, I could go to them, and they would give me the best advice I could get. And so, I mean, we now have a society where there are no morals, like Judge was saying. The Joe Bidens now, the Obamas, other people that have no standard, that they just blow with the wind. Whatever's politically expedient, that's what they grasped hold of. When it was conservatism, the Democrats wanted to be like conservatives. They wanted to be like the Ronald Reagans and be hard on crime and all this type of thing. They just blow with the wind. There is no standard. What do you believe in for real, for real? And I don't know what anybody believes in for real, except men like Joe Brown. Except men that grew up in a time where who you were meant something and you didn't straddle the fence. You didn't always have a lot of friends, but you didn't care about friends. You cared about your character. And character is who you really are. Reputation is who people
and
think.
Integrity.
People.
Yes.
There is none. There is none. I can't count on nobody.
Man, Bishop.
Ooh.
You know, your reputation don't mean a thing. I want you to have character. And character is gone. Character is gone. We have no character. I can't count on nobody on Pennsylvania Avenue, whether it be the White House, Blair House, or the Congress. I can't count on the people in the State House. I can't count people in City Hall. I don't know who to count on because they're so wishy-washy. They're so go by the wind kind of thing. They stand for nothing. I'd be glad and I hope and pray. And I'm going to talk to some of my kinfolk in Tennessee. And I'm going to let them know Judge Brown is running for mayor. And I want you to vote for him because he's a man of integrity.
All right.
He's a man
Frank,
of
You know something,
man.
Bishop? Let me
Go
just
ahead.
add one thing to this. You can answer this too, because you and I, you're a little younger than me, not much. But look, well, you were a preacher, so I guess it will apply to you differently than to me. When I was 20, of all the things I never anticipated that I would be preaching about 55 years later was morality and manners and appropriate, respectful behavior of all the things
that you thought
have to be. I mean, dang, what in the world?
What happened?
I never thought I would be
What happened,
having to
Judge?
say
What
something
happened?
about this kind of thing. Decency. I never thought I'd have to be talking about decency because that was the one thing that everybody tried to get. Your mama would talk about looking like a harlot. What's wrong with that? What in the world? Looking like a pansy or a petunia. I mean, corruption. I mean, act with decency. Be a man of firm convictions. What the? And to have the number one topic that you got to discuss behind decency being manhood got to be defended. What in the devil? No way I have ever
thought you'd be
anticipated that.
50,
No
60
way.
years you'd be in this position like this, defending morality. I mean, come on now.
And manhood.
Manhood. Character, building character. Come on. There is no more. There is no more. But I'm so glad people like Frank and Bernard and Chad and some of Chaz and all so many others, Victor and some of the others that are part of our group, that are the younger men, are beginning to catch fire, beginning to understand what we've been talking about all these many years. And it's a sad commentary.
That's good.
You're right. And after all this time, now we have to revisit something that we had at one time. We had this at one time. We were proud of the fact that we were poor, we didn't have much, but one thing we had morality, we had character, we had integrity, we had all those virtues. Virtue is gone. Virtuous lives are gone.
Ooh.
You know something?
A man's word should count for something. A man's word should count for something.
Damn.
No matter
you
what
know
else,
something?
he may not have a dime, but his word.
You are so right, Bishop. You're so right. Let me tell you something. This is good news. Night before last, I was at a local pub here in Memphis, Huey's, and a young man who had just gotten out of the gym, pumping some serious iron. He was in good shape. He walked over and said, "May I shake your hand?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Judge, blah, blah, blah." Turned out I knew his granddad. And he said, "I want to tell you something. I listen to you, and so do a lot of my friends." Say you, and he mentions all you guys too, Bishop, Bernard. He said, "We follow you guys, and you're not alone. You have more support with the young people than you would ever imagine. And when you say these people are lying about everybody is into this sickness, you're right, because we back what you're saying. We don't like this poison that we get fed."
That's good news. Thanks, Judge, for that. I like that.
Man, that's deep.
There's some people
Yeah, man, I gotta salute that.
Yeah.
Well, ain't no honor among thieves.
But you know what?
Put it like that. Ain't no honor among thieves. They try to take everything. But I want Frank to expand, because Frank, you got a whole lot of accountability problems out there in California. I mean, Jack, you got a wild state.
You live in California? Oh man, I grew up in California. I left some years ago to move back, man. That's some rough mess up in there, man.
I'm gonna have to get up out of here, man. I mean, from the immigration problems all the way down to the politics and the cost of living is crazy, man. And talking about accountability, this state don't have no accountability. But this for example, us, period, man. They lump so much stuff on us, and they give us so much stuff, and they pile so much stuff on that we forget about our nationality. We forget about who we are as a people. Fighting for us to get our tangibles and stuff like that. So they hit us with the LGBT and all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? To keep us our eyes off the prize, off the real battle, in which is to our lineage and basically us getting what our proper just due too, and also the education of our people too, to these youngsters, man, because they're pushing this LGBT and stuff like that. This pride, see, it's the keyword pride. But see, the thing is, they get pushing so much pride on the LGBT that we're forgetting about our pride to be our own. You see what I'm saying? We don't have no pride to be our own into who we are. That's the problem right there too. And they know that. They know that that's the problem. They know that they're overwhelmed with so much stuff on the media, such as the slap and all this stuff like that. That is causing us to not really think and to be into our logical selves. And it's just so much distraction that we're not focused in on the real big picture. And a lot of us, I don't even think care about the real big picture. We also have the hustle bustle mentality, going to work, coming home and stuff like that too. That's also, it hinders us too. You see what I'm saying? And it hinders our mind and our thinking from the real big picture too, and the facts that we don't get anything. Everybody else, the LGBT, you gotta look at it like this. Anytime the media and all the time the media announces all this stuff, and stuff like that, it's tangibles for people that actually have some kind of power. It's tangibles for people that actually have some kind of influence in this society. We don't have no power and influence, and that's this. A lot of that is these misleaders' fault. These misleaders, you notice that they shadow and they shadow the same media talking points. They shadow the same media, arguments about LGBT and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with us, right? And that's the thing too. That's the problem too. It's these misleaders, and the fact too that these reality shows. It's a lot of this BS that really hinders us from really thinking and keeping our eyes on the prize, and that's the problem. That's why we don't have accountability. Say it again.
It's a freak show.
It's a big time freak
show.
Freak show.
My bad. Clown show.
So
A freak show.
With a damn circus.
Will the accountability ever be there? I don't know, man. It gets worse and worse as time goes by. You know, they talk about pride, and I don't see what we should have pride within ourselves in our group. But unfortunately, we're losing that, man.
Pride is a rainbow, man. Remember, it's a rainbow.
Damn, that's true.
It's an illusion. All right, Shaq, go ahead.
Man, boy, you boys spit that hot fire, man. Y'all spit them flames, them hot fire, man. Judge, Bishop, Frank, Bernard, man. I'm gonna just tell y'all, it's not all hope lost. I talked to my son the other night. He's 15. He's down here in Texas, and he shocked me. His words. He's very intelligent. I'm proud of him because I asked him, you know, what's going on in y'all world, man? What's going on in y'all school? What y'all doing? What the guys doing? What the girls doing? And he said, well, he broke it down and laid it out to me, and it shocked me. He said, well, the generation from 16 years old to 21 are socially awkward. They don't know how to talk to the females, some of the young women, and just have cordial conversations with them without a device, without being on Twitter, text message, and the abbreviations and stuff. And I said, well, damn. So, well, how you communicate with her then, sir? Hey, Judge, I said, well, how you communicate with him? He said, well, I just talk about everything else, just have a general conversation with them and let them kind of lead into us being more cordial. You know what I mean? I said, wow. I said, okay, so now I'm focused on the 15 to the 21-year-old. So I'm gonna start some platform. Maybe hopefully summertime I'm gonna start a platform. Hopefully I can get you older gentlemen to come on and participate sometimes to bring some of them guys on. So we are the ones we got to give. I'm 40. You guys are a little bit older, so we are the middle class.
A lot older.
Middle age.
A lot older.
Yeah, well, I ain't even the middle class then. But we are the generation that we gotta connect with the like you said, the 14 and 15 year olds and give them this information.
I'm 35 years older than you are.
35 you 15, so right. Thank you, sir.
Boys and girls 101A is no longer taught. That's why you go into these places and they've got all of the TV screens around and the noise is atrocious, so nobody will have to talk, and they've got an excuse for sitting there looking awkward. And
that's the exact thing my son said. He shocked me when he said that, and I was like, wow, that he's aware and conscious of that. So, but we had these conversations. The conversations we have on y'all platform, I have with him. And he give me feedback and stuff, tell me what's going on in the school systems and what's going on in the neighborhoods and stuff with the young men and women. And yes, we need the man up, but we need the woman up too. We need the women to help the young ladies to warm it up too, because they're lost. They're lost, man. You know what I mean? Ooh. So it's all of us, man. We gotta, it's all hands on deck. My thing, Bernard always says all hands on deck. And these programs that we doing and creating our own media programs, we just got to keep on doing it, man.
Well, hey, look, man, that was a well stated. So let me bring this up because with Shaq, go ahead and explain stuff. I'm gonna let everybody. And then I know the judge, he got barbecue sauce and mayo thing going. Also, Judge, I want to say something. The lady, Miss Rivers on Ron's program. And actually on Queen Amidala's Stewart program, she was very interested as well. Just want to bring it up. The young woman named Miss Rivers, but just bringing it up. So shout out to her as well. Now, everybody can just go ahead and shout out the information. She just finished talking.
All right, I sure appreciate the platform, Bernard, man. It's well needed. We need to do this more often. Every other, couple times a month. But yeah, man, y'all can check me at Instagram. Huh?
I'm coming back.
I'll be back,
Yeah, just check me on Instagram, man. CLE Smooth 81 on Instagram. I got a treat for you. I'm coming out. I might have a book coming out. I'm in development of writing my first book, so be looking out. It's gonna be just be looking out.
Is anti
Nah.
Okay,
some of y'all would never even think about, but yeah, just be looking out for it. That's all I can say.
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, man. Check me out on YouTube. It's XX Frank Nitty XX. Like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? wouldn't mind, hit me up on Instagram. It's Frank Jones 8115, and then on Facebook if y'all want, is Frank Nevermind Jones. Yeah, so wouldn't mind the support. Appreciate it. I need it. Definitely trying to get this truth out. Y'all, if y'all don't mind truth, if y'all want to hear more truth, man, subscribe, hit me up, man. Every day.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Bishop.
Okay, I'm on Facebook, Gerald Scott. Instagram, Gman0751. I'm on Twitter, Bishop GW Scott. I'm even on TikTok, Gerald Scott 1951. And I'm also on Clubhouse. I'm also there as well. Every Wednesday at 6 p.m., we'll talk with the G-Man, Blog Talk Radio. We are here every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our call-in number is 515-602-9655. I'm a member. All of you are my friends on Facebook. Judge Brown is a friend. Frank, Chad, and BJ. We all are friends on Facebook. So, and I love every one of you, and I appreciate the opportunity always to be on the program.
Yeah, thanks for the salad, man. By the way,
huh?
Thanks for the salad too.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Bernard. And I'll be on your show tomorrow night, Judge. You know that. I'll be on there tomorrow night.
Everybody's invited.
So
more
that
the
means,
merrier.
You can, I know people. I know I've been getting some texts and few new subscribers, and some people send me stuff. So, you give me Bernard Johnson Facebook, KingBJMedia.com, KingBJFitness.com, and Bernard 1120 on Instagram, KingBJFitness32. Yeah, for like I said, I was like Darth Vader. I wasn't really Darth Vader, but they had me on Darth Vader for things that happened in November and December. They kept on saying that you are spreading the misinformation, blah blah blah. All the dumb stuff. And sooner or later they're gonna come back and say you're spreading anti-LGBTQ misinformation, blah 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 blah. But it is what it is. One of their strikes is gone. They gave me a strike. They wanted to be like Nazis. So it was what it was. I had to just reinvent this thing. But now I know the ins and outs. I knew them, but, I thought maybe they'd give me a little break. But every time I got a little Indian guy messaging me back and say, we reject your appeal. So they're trying to trap me in the court of public opinion, but it is what it is. I'm back, and I got y'all back on here, and that's good. So with that being said, also, anybody want to donate to me, they don't have to $1919 BJ, but that's completely up to you. I'm not really worried. I'll find some, things to do around here because there's so much going on in Richmond, Virginia. Now, we had like 5 killings in like 27 hours last week. So. And we got people putting the Ukrainian flag on tops of buildings and stuff like that. So There's all those events I can do. And also just the people around the country. I don't know your situation in the state. But the rent has gone up in most states from 17% to 33%. In New York, just today or today, talking about they bulldoze and homeless encampments. So that's another thing. But with that being said, Judge, you can shout out your information, show, barbecue sauce, and mayor.
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me a lot on YouTube for various things. I don't post to Facebook and Instagram. They're too damn censoring. You can find me on Twitter at Judge Joe Brown TV, and they won't give me a blue check, and they shadow block me as hard as they can. Now, I'm in the business of service and sauce. JJB for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee in 2023, send Brown downtown. And if you want the best barbecue sauce you've ever bought, Judge Joe Brown, barbecue, JJB, BBQ.com. Some good stuff. Everything with it. We will have chicken links and near meat stuff and powder and cooking devices. You may have a problem getting it in Maryland, but Otherwise, it'll be on the shelves before too long. Now, here's another thing. We even have a drink. You know what a Bloody Mary is? Take tomato juice and, you know, you add some shots of Tabasco.
I was in a restaurant there. I
put celery in it. Yeah, and vodka. Well, you add vodka to the barbecue sauce, put the celery in, and you got a damn good drink. Yeah.
Let me offer
We're working on a
Judge,
name for it.
If you need, I got a couple guys that's artists and stuff. They do music, and they wanted me actually if you needed to anybody do a jingle for your website for your sauce, man. Just get in contact with me. I can link you up with them. They can hit you with a good jingle.
Get in contact with me, somebody get in contact with me, and I've got a business crew that handles that stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There'll probably be a gentleman by the name of Aswad, ASWAAD English, that they'll wind up talking to.
Okay. What's the best way to get in contact if you want to make that happen?
Well, get my
website?
Contact information. Well, yeah, but no, get my contact information from Brother Bernard here, and just send me a text. Give me your 411 so I can put you in my contacts, and my phone won't block you.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. Now I got to get out of here before Dana.
I got to go too.
Before Dana kills me, she wants me to do something 7 minutes ago, so I'm late again.
Well, shout out your number first.
I've got to go. This has been Judge Joe. I'm the one that ran. Call me when you can.
Oh yeah.
Send Brown downtown in 2023. That's Judge JJB for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, take your time.
Oh yeah.
I'm out of here.
Hey, look,
right.
Hello.
Hey, look. Yeah.
All right, Judge.
So let me bounce out too. Bishop has left the building, and everybody left the building. But I want to thank y'all for a great show today. I don't know if you heard me, but the number to the show on Friday is 929-477-1170-1167. So with that being said, hey Frank, Shaq, everybody, I'm out. It was great having y'all today. Y'all was wonderful. Take your time and have a great day.
Yeah, go look it out, BJ.
Gotcha.